This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
And welcome in, folks, to another edition of Open Mic Night. I'm your host, Noah Taluki, and on today's episode, a couple new Lions signings, couple Lions going other places. We'll break that down for you. And also, to close it out, I want to give you an update on my bracket. We did the whole bracket picks last week for the first round. Want to give a little updated Sweet 16 picks. A couple of my guys, a couple of my teams are out now, so we're going to redo it. We're going to run it back and do a Sweet 16, kind of a fresh start, if you will. So I'm excited for this one. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their day out there. And I'll tell you what, this weather has been fantastic. I mean, I'm outside in shorts and a t-shirt, and I'm not freezing at all. You know, I am out there naturally, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun to be out in nice weather, and that felt really, really good this weekend. That's for sure. Unfortunately, John Carroll lost to Mount Union 52-27. Mount Union's quarterback threw for 7 touchdowns. I know last week I mentioned that I was calling that John Carroll versus Mount Union football game always the biggest game in Division III, possibly the nation every year as well, because it's always against top 10 teams. But John Carroll just could not take it this time. But I wanted to bring that up because, in case you're not aware, Mount Union has won 13 Division III national championships, and they've had a couple NFL players as well. If anybody remembers Pierre Garçon, the longtime Indianapolis Colt, he is a Mount Union alum, and so is Cecil Shorts III. He played for the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans for a little bit. He was the star receiver on the Jaguars team back in 2012, 2013, around there, but he unfortunately had some injuries throughout his career, so that kind of derailed him. But when he was healthy, he was very, very good, and he just played on a bunch of small market teams and not so good teams. But they've had a couple NFL guys that have come through their program, which is remarkable for Division III. And then on top of that, you know, I was calling the radio over in Alliance, Ohio for Mount Union, at Mount Union. And I'm sitting up in the Dom Capers press box. And if that name sounds familiar, that's the same Dom Capers that is the Lions' new senior defensive assistant. He was a longtime defensive coordinator in the NFL, was a head coach as well, and he is a proud Mount Union alum. He's given a lot of money to the university, and they named the press box after him. So I was calling the radio in the Dom Capers press box, named after the Lions' senior defensive assistant. So hopefully one day we'll have some success with Dom Capers and his defensive knowledge of the game, and he's been around for a long time. Hopefully that'll help this Lions and the new look defense as well. But speaking of the Lions, we updated you last week with a couple new additions. This week, a couple new ones as well. I know we mentioned Jamal Williams signing a 2-year, up to $7.5 million deal. Also, Brashad Perriman signing a 1-year, $3 million deal with the Lions. And the Lions have finally found their replacement for Matt Prater at kicker. It's going to be Randy Bullock, the former Cincinnati Bengal. Also, Khalif Raymond, a receiver from the Titans, signing a 1-year deal with the Lions as well. And a couple other Lions in new places. Miles Killebrew, a special teams ace for your Detroit Lions. He has signed a 1-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also, Reggie Ragland signing a 1-year deal with the Giants. And another Lions player heading to New York, the Big Apple, is Kenny Gallaudet. 4 years, $72 million for Kenny Gallaudet. I mean, and I've said it before. I really wish the Lions could have franchise tagged Kenny Gallaudet, and I thought they would, but it just didn't work out. And he wanted to get paid. I think it was very obvious, and he got his pay. I mean, 4 years, $72 million. That's a lot of money to play in the Big Apple. But there's going to be a lot of pressure on Kenny Gallaudet probably too, because anytime a team plays in New York, there's all kinds of pressure on you. So Kenny Gallaudet is going to have to deliver, or he's going to get that back page treatment of the New York Post. So best of luck to Kenny Gallaudet. I really hope he does well. I mean, the Giants, they're one of the bedrock franchises of the NFL. You know, a lot of great history, 4 Super Bowls. But they've really struggled since, that last Super Bowl that Eli Manning won in 2012 against the New England Patriots. They've just kind of gone downhill, some bad management, and Daniel Jones now at quarterback. I mean, we'll see if giving him an elite target can help him flourish. And Kenny Gallaudet, when healthy, has proven to be that target. So hopefully Kenny Gallaudet works out in New York, but we're definitely going to miss him here in Detroit. We mentioned also Marvin Jones leaving. So, I mean, the Lions have now signed Brashad Perriman, Khalif Raymond, Tyrell Williams. I mean, I'm assuming we're going to be drafting a wide receiver in the draft. I really want Kyle Pitts. Really, really want him. We'll do some more draft updates later on in the next couple weeks, but I really hope they get Kyle Pitts. I think he could be a matchup nightmare with TJ Hawkinson and company, but we'll have to see where they fall. I mean, I saw the latest mock draft from Todd McShay. And look, I don't value mock drafts as much just because it's a mock draft, And plus, there's teams out there that say don't take this player off the mock draft because we don't want anybody knowing about it and all that. So I just kind of take it with a grain of salt, but it's always interesting to look at. And I saw that he picked the Lions getting Devonte Smith. And I thought that was kind of interesting because, the whole knock on Devonte Smith is, yes, of course he won the Heisman. He put up video game-like numbers. But, I mean, the guy's like 6'1", 175. He's skinny as a rail, if you will. So we'll have to see. I mean, it's obvious the guy can play football, but can he survive at the NFL level? That's a whole nother question. But like I said, we'll get into more Lions draft talk in a couple of weeks. But I like where the Lions are going right now. I really do. It's a lot of like 1 to 2 year deals, on the cheaper end too. I mean, obviously you saw that they locked up Romeo Okwara. They must see something really special in him. But, and then obviously Jared Goff, the big trade. I'm curious to see what Michael Brockers is like because he's basically, he's going to be probably a starter since Danny Shelton left. I can't remember where he signed, but I mean, the Lions traded a 2023, not even this season, a 2023 7th-round pick to the Rams for a starter in Michael Brockers. I mean, that's nothing. 3-year, $24 million contract. I mean, for basically nothing. I mean, I would say that's definitely a win for the Lions, and it was the same with the Stafford trade. I thought that was a win for the Lions as well. Jared Goff, 2 years here, and then he could be cut for nothing, if for some reason it doesn't work out. So I think it's a low risk, high reward sort of thing for some of these signings, and I'm excited. I really, really want to see where this, first year GM in Brad Holmes and first year head coach Dan Campbell. I wonder what they're going to do in the draft. And obviously the glory pick is the first round pick, but I would like to see what they will do with those second, third, fourth round picks because as we know, Bob Quinn, he was not very good at drafting those middle round picks. And in the middle round, you got to draft players that could potentially become starters or a very, very valuable backup. So I want to see how they approach this because they have to hit a home run in this draft, I think. They really have to. If they want to build this team the right way, they have to nail their first draft. And, hopefully they get it done. But I like the signings. Brashad Perriman, he's had a little bit of success. He has not been the receiver that, everybody thought he was. I bet this will be a story, too. His dad, Brett Perriman, was a former Detroit Lion. So I bet there'll be stories out there about that. Bet there'll be interviews. Hey, maybe we can have Brad Perriman on. We'll have to see. But I think that's very, very good signings by the Lions and a lot of low risk, high reward sort of deals. Oh, and literally as we speak, I get a text from a buddy. And we had this happen last week with Marvin Jones and a couple other guys, where literally during my talk, I was getting texts from people about something. So it looks like, according to Mike Garafolo, that the Lions are signing linebacker Alex Hanselloni, sources say, former Saints linebacker reuniting with Dan Campbell on a 1-year, $1.75 million deal. Alex Anzaloni's great. I mean, this is just my first reaction here, but I mean, this guy was, I believe, a starter for the Saints, and he could be plugged right in. I mean, obviously, Jared Davis is gone. He signed with the Jets for 1 year, I think. So the line, and of course, the Lions, their weakness last year, a lot of it was obviously the defensive backfield, but I think a lot of it was the linebackers too. It was very obvious that Jared Davis could not cover. He was bad in coverage. Jelani Tavai looks lost out there on plays, and Jamie Collins, he made a lot of nice tackles, but I mean, I feel like he'll always be remembered for that bonehead play week 1 against Chicago and just a couple other misses. But I just they need a guy at linebacker that can really help. And Anzalone, he knows Dan Campbell from New Orleans. He knows what his routines are like. He knows what he is as a coach. So I think this could be a similar situation to maybe some guys that know Matt Patricia, like from when the Quinn Tricia regime was here. Guys that know his system, guys that can help lead and really know how he ticks. That's going to help with leadership and all that. So Alex Anzalone, 1-year deal. I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that. I think he could be a very valuable piece. So another low risk, high reward sort of thing. So I'm really happy that the Lions are going in this direction. I'm pretty happy right now, and I don't really have any complaints. Not many. So they're trying to build this team the right way, and it's from the ground up. And I think as of now, they're doing a great job, and we'll have to see how they draft. But I'm satisfied right now on paper. I know the season hasn't started. Obviously, we haven't even gotten in a mini camp or anything like that. But I don't mind. It's all good right now for me. But obviously we'll have to see how we draft. But it should definitely be interesting. By the way, shout out to Pride of Detroit. We've had a couple of their guys on before, Jeremy Reisman, a long time ago, if you want to go check that podcast out. I really like how they have this page on prideofdetroit.com that has the Lions free agency and the offseason tracker. So they update this every time that they get news of the Lions signing somebody. So it's nice. So they have the additions like signed by the Lions, players acquired via trade, future signings, Lions free agents, where did they sign, who was re-signed, who's unsigned still. I like this. I really, really like, and who the Lions released as well. So this is awesome. I really like it. Shout out to Pride of Detroit because it's, in the NFL, it's full of information. There's information from all kinds of different angles out there, but it's definitely nice to just see it in one space. So that's really good as well. Oh, another breaking news. Literally as we speak, Lions restructuring Jared Goff's contract, creating $15 million in cap space. Again, great job by the Lions. My first reaction to this is wow, saving $15 million in cap space by restructuring Jared Goff's original contract. Again, this was a guy that after 2 years you could just cut him for free, and saving another $15 million on Jared Goff. I'm blown away right now with how awesome these guys have been in the first couple months. And this is a great first impression, but I'm just warning you guys, don't think that I am gung-ho and I think we're going to win the Super Bowl or the NFC North or whatever this year. There's a lot of work to do, but I'm just saying that I really like where the Lions are heading in this direction. So great job again to restructure Goff's contract, saving $15 million. We'll have to see what the Lions do with those $15 million, but it's a good start. Really, really good start for the Lions. All right, that's enough right now for the Detroit Lions. I want to move on to March Madness. A lot of upsets. It's been a pretty good tournament. It's been tough for me to watch this year because here at John Carroll, we're basically playing 2 seasons in one season with the fall season and the spring season happening at the same time. So it was hard for me because there's all kinds of games on weekends. Baseball doubleheader, softball doubleheader, lacrosse, soccer. It's just nonstop. So trying my best to keep up with and watch these games, but it's been tough. But I've definitely followed it a little bit, at least. And I will say, there have been a lot of upsets. A lot of these schools that I did not think that had a chance are able to sneak into the Sweet 16 and win a game. So that's good for them because March Madness is all about the underdog. A lot, especially when you get the crowd going and when you get a whole following around an underdog team. The underdog is usually the team that they want to win. So definitely shout out to the underdogs, if you will. So I decided to just do one bracket this year. Usually I fill out 2, and there's a couple of leagues that my buddies run that you're able to put in multiple brackets and all that. But this year I just did one because I just didn't want to be cheering for two different schools or something like that, because I'll pick one school in one bracket and another in the other. And I just felt, especially for this season, in as weird of a tournament as it could be possibly, that I just want to stick with one. So in the one bracket that I chose, 8 of my 16 teams I correctly predicted to the Sweet 16. Now, the bracket last week that I announced to you was, I think, a little bit different than the one, my final pick, because the picks that I had last week were just the ones that I kind of, spurred on just my first reaction. I warned you guys last week that I could change these picks, and I did. I did a little bit. Some of them I regret, some of them I don't. But, so my Sweet 16 was Gonzaga, Virginia, Kansas, Oregon, Michigan, Florida State, BYU, Alabama, North Carolina, Villanova, Texas Tech, Ohio State, Illinois, Tennessee, Syracuse, and Houston. So 8 of those 16 teams made it. I mean, the one that I kind of took a risk on was BYU. I thought, I just thought they had a great year last year. They probably want revenge because they got snubbed from having a tournament last year. I thought they might, have that. But when I saw Michigan State lose to UCLA, I don't know. I just had some sort of feeling that UCLA was going to go to the Sweet 16 because I saw that they were going to play Texas probably. And then I was like, you know what? I feel like they could possibly beat Texas. I think Texas is overrated every year. But then Texas lost to Abilene Christian, and as soon as that happened, I said, okay, UCLA is 100% going to the Sweet 16, and they beat Abilene Christian by 20. Another 14 seed over a 3 seed. So 11 seed UCLA making some noise. I had Michigan and Florida State, so I got that right. I had Alabama. I took a flyer on North Carolina. I thought Baylor was sort of a joke. So, and I know they had a very, very good regular season, but I thought I have to pick at least one seed to fall early every year. And I thought this year would be Baylor, but I found out it was Illinois. So I think originally I had Wisconsin, but I switched it to North Carolina, and obviously it didn't work out. But Baylor against Villanova, I need Villanova to go to the Final Four. I picked them, the 5 seed Villanova, and I know they lost Giuseppe, their big star, but it was, my Final Four was Gonzaga, Michigan, Villanova, and Illinois. And unfortunately, Illinois losing to Loyola Chicago. We'll get to that in a minute. But I thought Texas Tech would win as well. They had that Final Four team from 2 years ago. They had a couple guys that were back. Mac McClung, the Georgetown transfer, he's been playing very well this season. They almost beat Arkansas, though, and they only lost 68-66. I didn't think Arkansas would win. I didn't think Arkansas would go this far. In fact, I did have Arkansas. Okay, I did have Arkansas beating Colgate. I thought for a second Colgate would win, but no, definitely Arkansas there. And then I thought Texas Tech would beat them, but unfortunately nothing. Heck, Arkansas might go to the Elite Eight. Oral Roberts. We can't talk enough about Oral Roberts. I was so happy to see Oral Roberts beat Ohio State. They beat them 75-72. We were actually going down to Alliance to call the Mount Union football game versus John Carroll on last Friday. And, my buddy and I were just talking in the car, and he says, oh my gosh, Oral Roberts just beat Ohio State. And I thought, oh man, this is the new FGCU. And then they go and play Florida, the 7th seed, and they beat them by 3 points as well. So 15 seed Oral Roberts, the first 15 seed since FGCU, and only the second ever to go to the Sweet 16. So Oral Roberts from Tulsa, Oklahoma, 15 seed. I don't know, though. I see their road ending. I think Arkansas goes to the Elite Eight there. So in the South region, I need Villanova versus Arkansas. Just say that. Villanova, Arkansas. Midwest. This was another interesting region. So you had 1 seed Illinois lose to Loyola Chicago, the 8 seed. Now, Loyola Chicago was ranked pretty much the entire year. Shout out to the Ramblers. My sister goes there. I know she was having a blast over the weekend watching her favorite player, Cameron Krutwig, dominate. And, I mean, who could forget about Sister Jean, too? And it's, I know my mom and my sister have met Sister Jean before. So, because, her office is right there in the student union at Loyola. So, I'm cheering for Loyola. I think they're going to beat Oregon State. And I think we're going to see Loyola in the Elite Eight again. I'm excited. Look, it's one of those things where I picked Illinois, Tennessee in the Sweet 16. I didn't think Oregon State. I know they won the Big 12. I just kind of thought they were frauds, a little bit like Georgia Tech. But, I mean, I'm happy for both schools. But I think Loyola, Chicago, I think the 8 seed is going to prevail. We're going to see them in the Elite Eight. The one that I picked right for both matchups, Houston-Syracuse. I had a feeling 11 seed Syracuse was going to beat West Virginia, and they were going to beat San Diego State. They blew out San Diego State in the first round, and they beat West Virginia by 3. So I need Cuse to go to the Elite Eight. I picked Syracuse to upset Houston. So that pick I need. Really, really need. And Houston, I mean, they're a fast team, and they barely beat Rutgers. I was very close to picking Rutgers, but I just thought, it was their first tournament win since 1983. They haven't been to, they haven't really had experience in this. I just think that Houston has a little bit more experience because they have been in the tournament the last few years. So I'm going to pick Houston to go to the Sweet 16. Sure enough, Syracuse-Houston is the matchup. And, Jim Boeheim, he can be sneaky in these tournaments. So I think Syracuse is still going to beat Houston to go to the Elite Eight and probably play Loyola. So it's going to be probably Loyola and Syracuse in the Elite Eight. I really hope so. I know people that picked Houston to win it all, and I don't know. I can't see Houston winning it. But hey, weirder things have happened in the tournament, like Oral Roberts beating Ohio State. Gosh, I had Ohio State in the Elite Eight as well. I really regret that. When they lost to Michigan State, I kind of thought Ohio State was a little bit fraudy, if you will. But nah, I don't know. I don't know why I picked them to the Elite Eight looking back. We'll head up to the West now. And Gonzaga, I mean, I had Gonzaga all the way. I have Gonzaga winning the entire thing. So at this point, I need Gonzaga to win. And it's very, very hard for teams who are undefeated to win it all. But I don't know, for some reason, I just feel like this may be Gonzaga's year, especially in a really weird year like this. I just didn't see anybody else winning. Creighton, I had them in my original bracket when I announced to you guys last week, but I ended up picking Virginia just because I thought experience would win a little bit there. But I thought I didn't think they'd go anywhere past the Sweet 16. But then Virginia lost to Ohio, who I thought was an upset at first. But I don't know. And then Creighton has some experience as well. 2 Jesuit schools right there, Gonzaga and Creighton. But I see Gonzaga. I need Gonzaga anyways. So hopefully the Bulldogs will win that one. Then I had Kansas beating USC. That was a little bit of risk because I know Kansas had some delays with their season. It was the same sort of deal with Virginia, where they had delays in their season, which could hamper their performance in the tournament. And, oh, yeah, it showed. I mean, Kansas got blown out 85-51 to USC. I mean, I don't even think USC is that good of a basketball school. Kansas beat Eastern Washington 93-84. I thought Drake was going to upset USC, the play-in game. But the play-in game winner, Drake. But, yeah, they didn't do too well, 72-56. So it's USC and Oregon. I did have Oregon in the Sweet 16, and I have Oregon in the Elite Eight. I had a feeling Oregon was going to beat Iowa. And that was before everything came out about, the Big Ten's so bad right now. Oregon they won their game against VCU on a forfeit. And I just had a feeling they'd beat Iowa in the second round. And they did. Luka Garza, my guy, a favorite in the Big Ten. He had an emotional walking off the court, that's for sure. But I need Oregon to beat USC. A Pac-12 rematch here. Gonzaga, Oregon. I predicted that from the get-go. I need that to happen as well. So, and then last but not least, we touched on it earlier, Michigan, Florida State. I mean, I need Michigan. I need Michigan right now. Florida State beating Colorado 71-53. I mean, I could see Florida State possibly beating Michigan as well, but just for bracket's sake, I need the Wolverines. And then Alabama, UCLA. I mean, I really hope Alabama wins. I thought they would lose earlier just because of Nate Oates and this. So I know he has some experience in the tournament, but at this high of a level with an SEC school, I thought maybe they would hamper and fall. That's why I thought they might get upset by a BYU. Obviously, BYU didn't win, but I think Alabama beats UCLA. I think it's Michigan, Alabama in the Elite Eight. So I need the teams again. I need Gonzaga, Michigan, Villanova, and, well, Illinois is already out. So 3 of my 4 Final Four teams are out. And as you guys know, in brackets, you get more points if you predict the higher winners. So if you predict the champion, you get a lot of points. Predict the Final Four, that's more. So it's not, everything is not weighed just on the first round. So how I've kind of taken this approach the last couple years is who's going to win it all, and then kind of backtrack from there. And so hopefully, I mean, a couple years ago, I won my bracket league because I predicted 3 of the Final Four teams. So if Michigan, Gonzaga, and Villanova survive, I might have this locked up. We'll have to see. I have yet to discover. I know I was looking at other brackets. Not many people in my league, and there's over 100 people in this league. Not many people have Oregon, and not many people have Villanova in the Elite Eight. So hopefully I'll gain an edge there. Same with Syracuse. I don't think anybody had Syracuse, because you got to be a little different sometimes in leagues, if you know what I mean. You got to make some picks that are kind of out there, and that's always been my advice to people, because some people are like, "Hey, Noah, like, how do you?" Because I usually end up like the top 10, top 15 every year in brackets, and they're like, "Well, usually." Right now, I'm sort of in the middle, but we'll have to see. But my advice to people is to pick. You gotta pick some upsets, and you gotta correctly try your best to see. Okay, well, maybe like for example, Syracuse. They've obviously had tournament success before, and Jim Boeheim is a very legendary and very good coach in the tournament, and he has teams that are sort of average in the regular season that end up stepping up in the postseason. You got to look at who they play and think, okay, well, is this upset worthy? And go from there. Syracuse was my 11th seed that made it to the Elite Eight in the bracket in my predictions. So I think that's how you got to think. But hopefully the bracket will work out, and we'll be giving you some good updates next week. But thanks again, folks, for tuning in. We have Tigers opening day on Friday. We'll get more in-depth with Tigers because there's some big Tiger news that I definitely want to share with you later on. Lions, will continue to track that. We'll start getting into some draft talk later because it's already at the end of April, so it's a little bit over a month away. Mock drafts are coming out. It's exciting. The weather's nice. I'm really looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll get some guests on in a couple weeks. I know it's been really, really busy, and but hopefully I might have a little bit of time over Easter. I don't know. We'll have to see because there's a lot of events to work over here. The OAC, the Ohio Athletic Conference, they weren't going easy on us. They were scheduling breaks over games over Easter break, left and right. So we'll have to see. I'll keep you updated though. But thanks again, folks, for tuning in. Hopefully everybody checks out some of the other podcast content on the Detroit Sports Podcast Network. There's Doc and Jock. They had a great the wrestling podcast. They had a great interview with one of the wrestlers from Detroit last week. Go check that out as well. There's the Fan Report. There's the Michigan podcast, all updating you on Detroit sports news. And it's really, really great to listen to, and it's really been awesome to be a part of. But thanks again, folks, for tuning in. And tune in next week only on Open Mic Night.